Thank you, Sergio. Just want to take this time to thank everybody involved with this huge, huge event. This has been a tremendous end to the year on DAZN. This fight for me is the 2020 fight of the year. When you get the #1 of any division facing the pound-for-pound #1 of boxing, this is very, very special. And I wouldn't be able to make this fight if the fighters didn't want to compete, if they didn't want to chase greatness. And on Saturday night in front of 12,000 people, and I can't tell you how good it will feel to even have that many people back in the arena at the Alamodome, you will witness the fight of the year for the WBC, WBA Ring Magazine 168-pound World Championship. And right now I want to bring up two great fighters. Firstly, if we could bring up Callum Smith, WBA Ring Magazine 168-pound #1 fighter in a division, of course, the pound-for-pound #1, multi-weight world champion as well. Please, Canelo Alvarez, can you join us to the stage as well? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Good, mate, you. Welcome. We'll start with the champion, Callum. I've never seen anyone so relaxed in such a mega fight since I've promoted boxing. From the moment this fight was discussed, from the moment that we were negotiating the fight, from even this week in the hotel, super relaxed. Is that because you're in a great frame of mind? You know you're ready. This is your moment.
Yeah, it's just, I'm a relaxed person anyway. I'm quite laid back, but I'm in the position I've always wanted to be ever since I was a little boy, and especially since turning professional. The goal was to always reach the very top, be involved in the biggest fights possible on the biggest stage for the biggest prizes. And I'm here now, so I've got to just enjoy it. There's no bigger fight possible for me. I finally got the fight I wanted, and I'm in a very good place mentally and physically. I feel really good, and I'm ready to perform. And I'm just excited. I can't get worked up or nervous or anything unless I'm in a position I've always wanted to be in.
Obviously, turned pro many years ago with Matchroom. Many felt like you should have been in the Olympic team. You used that to really drive your success forward. I think one thing that people haven't really picked up on in this fight is I don't think you've barely lost a round as a professional fighter. Obviously undefeated, but you know, obviously the fight against John Ryder was the fight. You did lose some rounds in that fight, but before that, against George Groves, against Hassan and Dam, you know, for the European Championship, against Rabras, against Rocky Fielding, a pretty straightforward career so far to this point.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's what. I always want to be a world champion, and I imagined there'd be a few rocky moments on the way, and I become a world champion and still didn't really know how good I was, and I don't think people knew how good I was. I kind of done it all my own way. I never really had a tough test along the way, and it was more, let's say, credit to myself. I made a lot of tough fights on paper easy, but I sat down and said, well, what more do I want? I've won my world title. Now I want the biggest fights possible. I want to test myself against the biggest names in the sport, and Canelo certainly is that. He's proven he's done multiple weights. He's a superstar. He's the pound-for-pound best, but I believe I'm good enough to compete at that level also. I've proved I'm a world-class fighter. Now I want to prove I can compete at the elite level.
We saw the head-to-head, and you know, as we've seen against Rocky Fielding and Sergey Kovalev, you know, those pictures go global and everybody gasps at the size difference as well. But you bring something very different to this fight as well, don't you? You bring the power, you bring the youth, the experience as well. But difference obviously got to make this size difference play in this fight. But you know, you look at it as an advantage, but no, you have to make it count. Yeah,
I believe so. But I'm not just a big lump with limited ability. I believe I've got skills to go with it. I don't think I believe in being in a position that I'm in now if I didn't have no skills and ability. And tactically, I believe we've got it spot on. And I've just got to perform and do exactly what I know I can. And I've watched Canelo over the years, and as a fan, I enjoy watching him. But I've always watched them believing if that was me in there, I believe I can beat him. I've always felt stylistically I've got the style to do it, and I've got a chance to prove it.
Said to Joe as well, obviously this is people talking about a great upset, if you like. To you, is it an upset? I mean, we know that you're #1 in the division, you deserve to be here, you deserve this opportunity, but you see this much more as a 50-50 fight than some of the bookmakers.
Yeah, for me, obviously, listen, I like my chances in this fight. I wouldn't call for a fight that I believe I lose. I've been asking for this fight because I believe I win it. I understand I'm the underdog. You know, you look at your social media, a lot of people don't really give me a chance in this fight, but I've been here before. I was the underdog in my world title fight, and if anything, it gives me a little bit more motivation, a little bit of a point to prove my worth, and I believe I deserve to be in this fight. I'm #1 in the world. I worked very hard to be in the position I'm at, and now I'm enjoying the luxury of being world champion and being involved in these big fights, which, like I said before, I've dreamed of being in since I was a little boy.
Obviously, you have that experience of boxing around the world. You made your debut in America a few years ago. You boxed in Saudi Arabia against George Groves. You boxed at Madison Square Garden against Hassan and Dam. You boxed in all the big arenas in the UK as well. Do you think that calmness will put you in good stead on Saturday night? I remember when we were scrambling around trying to make this fight, when Canelo said he was going to announce it on his Instagram, I think you went to bed virtually and just turned your phone off and said to Sean and Joe and the team, yeah, whatever, just let me know.
The negotiations were long and mentally draining, but I always just wanted this fight regardless of where it was in the world. I just wanted to be in the biggest fights possible, and this always was. The minute I knew he was going to campaign at 168, I knew I had to just keep winning and make sure the only fight that made the most sense was me, and I worked my way to number one in the division, and I finally got that fight. But I'm not here to just be involved in a superstar fight. I'm here to win. I want to remain undefeated. I want to stay world champion. Renoso mentioned he's still got goals to achieve in the sport. So have I. I've still got more world titles I want to win, and I believe I'll win another one this weekend.
Canelo, welcome. Sal, thank you. This is another big challenge for you. It's something that you live by in boxing.
Así es, ya estamos acostumbrados a los grandes retos. Gracias a Dios tenemos esta pelea en el 2020 que ha sido difícil para todos. Vamos a cerrar con broche de oro con un gran campeón y pues estoy contento, motivado como siempre.
Yes, we are here and we're always ready for great challenges. Thank God we've been able to make this fight in 2020, and we're ready to close out the year with a big bang and close it out, as a champ.
These surroundings are different. No MGM, grand arrival, no 80,000 people. We've seen with Anthony Joshua last week, he actually quite enjoyed being in this bubble, things being a little bit quieter, being able to focus the mind. Are you enjoying the experience? It's very different.
Sí, la verdad que sí, lo sigo disfrutando al 100%. Obviamente no se ve la gente en el hotel, los gritos, las banderas, pero pues es normalmente lo que hago la semana de la pelea, estar en mi cuarto lo más que se pueda, atender a los medios y prácticamente es lo mismo, nomás sin ver gente en el hotel.
Yes, it's very similar. It's just different where you don't see the people, you don't see the flags, you don't see everything that surrounds Fight Week. But for the most part, it's very, very similar to what I do. I stay in my room, focused, take care of media, press, all of that. But it's very similar, stay focused and just getting ready for what's coming.
When I was talking to Eddie Reynoso, one thing that struck me about you and Eddie is you want the challenges. You want to fight the best, and if you look at your resume, in 2020, last year, you boxed Daniel Jacobs for the World Middleweight Championship. You moved up 2 divisions to fight Sergey Kovalev for the Light Heavyweight Championship. Now in your next fight, you fight the number one at 168 pounds. Is this what boxing is all about for you, to the big challenges and fight the best?
Sí, para mí todo lo que me genere, obviamente un riesgo es lo que me gusta. Este es un gran riesgo para mí, para mi carrera, pero también es seguir haciendo historia, ¿no? Callum Smith es el número 1 en las 168 libras, queremos hacer campaña en este peso y pues qué más peleando con el número 1 en esa división, ¿no? Entonces me gustan los retos y estoy listo para seguir haciéndolo y tomar las grandes peleas.
Yes, I like risk. I like taking risk. Taking this fight is a risk. I'm fighting the number 1 at the 168 pounds, so these are challenges for me, and I continue to bring challenges forward, and I like the risk of it. I like challenges to continue making history.
Whenever we see the head-to-head, we saw it against Rocky Fielding, we saw it against Sergey Kovalev, see it against Callum Smith. He's a big guy, right? And does that excite you, the fact you're facing these bigger men? We know you're coming up through the divisions.
Sí, sin duda, ¿no? Ya sabíamos que es un peleador muy alto, pero aparte pues tiene muchas cualidades boxísticas también, que eso lo hace aún más completo. Pero pues con mi experiencia en mi nivel... En mi nivel tengo que adaptarme a cualquier situación y tengo la experiencia y las habilidades para poder sobrellevar esto y sé lo que tengo enfrente, pero estamos listos para esto.
Yes, we do know that he's tall. We also know that he has great boxing qualities, so that makes him dangerous. But with my experience and the level of my boxing, we're ready for this and to continue making history and taking risks like this. This is what I'm here for.
Finally, both of you, Callum, Joe said that obviously the plan to end this fight inside the distance. No, it's hard to come away onto foreign ground and get that win. Is the plan to try and be explosive in this fight and try and do damage within the distance?
Yeah and no, obviously. I've got to disagree. I believe it's never go win. I dominate. I win rounds well. I believe I get a fair share at the judges, but every fight I always go in and stick to the tactics, and I always find if I do land, I've got the power to hurt anyone in the world, and I believe I'm a good finisher. Over the years, I've always got rid of people when I hit them, so tactics always the same for me. I'll never go in, guns blazing, swinging, looking for a knockout, but no, it's always there in the back of my mind. I'm always ready. I'm quite spiteful when I get someone hurt, and this is exactly the same. I've got to treat Canelo Alvarez like any other fighter. Go in there. I'm a world champion. I believe in my own ability, and I believe I can beat anyone.
So, a big puncher. You're a big puncher as well. Fans watching around the world on DAZN this Saturday, we're going to see an explosive fight.
Así es, no, siempre salgo a dar lo mejor de mí y pues hablar ahorita aquí pues no tiene caso, ¿no? Siempre cuando suena la campana es cuando se ve la realidad y la verdad es que yo siempre salgo a hacer lo mejor y a ganar por cualquier vía. Si se me presenta el knockout lo voy a aprovechar y si no tengo la experiencia necesaria para poder ganar con los 12 asaltos, ¿no? Pero obviamente siempre ganar por knockout es espectacular y pues obviamente siempre está ahí a la puerta.
Yes, that's what we're here for. This is going to be an explosive fight, a good fight, a very good fight. And if the knockout opportunity arises, then yes, I will take that because the fans always like to see a fight end in a knockout. So if the opportunity arises, I will take it.
Thank you, Sal and Callum and all the teams as well. This fight, the fight of the year, this Saturday, live on DAZN. Do not miss it. It's been a tough year. I want to thank these guys for coming through and delivering, as I said, the best fight of 2020. The number 168-pounder in the world against the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Alvarez. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, and I'll call up both trainers as well.
Sergio, let's talk a bit about the size difference that we're seeing. I understand that size isn't everything, but there is a significant size difference.
No, size is something. It's not everything, but it's something that you have to actually, you have to get on the inside of that big, long reach. And not only that, you know, Callum Smith is a technician. He's a hard puncher. He's an excellent body puncher. So not only does he have to break that range, but he has to watch out for the punches coming to the head and to the body. This is an extremely tough and big challenge for Canelo, but that's why he's the #1 fighter in the world, because he doesn't want to go backwards. He wants to face the absolute best to prove why he's the absolute best.
One of the key words they kept using during the press conference is risk, risk, risk. Both of them taking such big risks back to back, especially with Canelo, who obviously just last fought Sergey Kovalev, always trying to achieve greatness, the both of them. Any final thoughts?
No, the risk, the word that Canelo always says is reto, which is a challenge. And the challenge or a risk, that's exactly what motivates him. I mean, fighters like Canelo usually, you know, fighters, period, they fight down to their competition. It seems Canelo needs to do the opposite in order to fight the best. He needs to fight up instead of down to lower himself.
Eddie, just before we wrap up, any final words on?
Just amazing fight, really. You know, I think at the moment coming through this, to get two guys at the absolute top of their game willing to go in and compete against each other is fantastic. You know, on one side, you've got Callum Smith, who started his professional career with me, watched him come through the system, you know, win British, European, world title eliminators, beat the #1 in the division against George Groves to get this opportunity. And, you know, you look at him and the size advantage is important, but he also has great fundamentals. You know, he has a great jab. He knows how to box on the inside and the outside. Can he stand up? Can he stand up to the hammer of the Canelo Alvarez bodywork and the ability to fight tall fighters? Because you saw it against Sergey Kovalev, you know, you saw it against Rocky Fielding. For me, those guys are a level below Callum Smith at the moment. He's in the absolute prime of his career. If he gets it right, I believe you're going to see Callum Smith get a really, really strong lead in this fight. You know, Sergey Kovalev was winning the fight, wasn't he, till he got knocked out. But he was a guy that didn't have the tank, didn't have the freshness to carry that forward. I just feel like when you fight someone like Canelo Alvarez, it's a bit like Golovkin. You have to have some pop. Callum hits hard to the head and the body, and he's really smart. I think it's just going to come down to a case of can he handle that? Can he handle the pressure? Can he handle the power of Canelo Alvarez, who really has moulded into a true 168-pounder now?
Can Callum Smith close out the show? And Michelle? We need to close out the show.
Yes.
Oh, was that
Yes.
it? Is that it?
That was the tap
I've
on
only
the
done
elbow.
3 hours
That
up
was
there.
the
Yeah,
tap
all
on
right.
the elbow. Well, thank you so much for your time. As always, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you tune in tomorrow. We have the weigh-in. You don't want to miss the final face-off before all of the action goes down on Saturday night here from the Alamodome.
Welcome to DAZN.